Alright, well this is the town of Queenstown. We just stayed overnight. It's raining. It's a beautiful place though. The clouds and the mountains. This is a big mining area. We got big copper mines. We passed a tin mine coming down. A lot of different minerals. We're going to go into Strawn and do the river cruise in just a few minutes. Which is the Wilderness Explorer. Right? Jessie? Jessie was car sick on the way down, but she's doing better. Getting all ready to go. This is Strawn. And the Gordon River.
Salmon, Atlantic salmon, and the occasional flathead. Now, it's a type of fish they catch here in Macquarie Harbour, and the type of fish that don't mind the mixture of both the fresh and salt water here in the harbour. So, people of interest, one of the vessels travelling aboard today, the Wilderness Sea, which is the baby of the Gordon River Cruise Fleet. Our fleet consisting of 3 vessels, 2 larger ones up ahead of us, large white one, the Gordon Explorer, large red one, the James Scully II, the main 2.5-day cruise, and the baby of the fleet, the Wilderness Sea. Wilderness Sea, only 20 metres in length, she's entirely constructed in aluminium. She's powered by 2 turbocharged V8 joint diesels. Each of these diesels are producing 500 horsepower each, and they're driving through shafts onto 4-bladed fixed-pitch propellers. Now, the Wilderness Sea, what I call a twin-screw vessel, has 2 propellers. She has a top speed of 25 knots, or cruising 120 knots at the moment. Once reaching the Gordon River later on, morning we'll be slowing the Wilderness Sea down to eventually 6 knots. A very shallow draft vessel, the Wilderness Sea. She doesn't have a keel. She's specifically designed to get into shallow water, and that's what she's used for this particular cruise. As you'll see this afternoon, it's very shallow down at Sarah Island. Standing vessel without a fleet can get into the small jetty or landing there at the island, and that's why the Wilderness Sea was used for this particular cruise. And feel free to wander around the vessel as you wish throughout the day. You'll find access to the top deck as well as the stairs at the stern or back of the vessel. But please be careful as you do wander around the vessel. Naturally, being a boat, you will find a lot of stairways, hatches and coatings, and there's only holding one falling over and hurting themselves. Safety gear aboard the Wilderness Sea, you'll find life jackets installed in lockers down the front of the vessel. We have a life raft up on the top deck, and also rescue gear. Toilets, you'll find 2 toilets aboard the Wilderness Sea.
What? Yes, we're racing. They're winning.
Hell's Gates, the entrance to Macquarie Harbour. South over to the right of the bow. Entrance Island Lighthouse has just come into view. The second of the lighthouses marks the entrance to Macquarie Harbour. We're travelling right alongside Entrance Island through Hell's Gates and out into the ocean in a moment. Also notice over here on our left-hand side, we've actually been travelling down alongside a rock wall here in the middle of Macquarie Harbour for the last mile or so. You just start to see the top of this rock wall. This rock wall over here on our left-hand side is quite unique. It is known as the training wall. Now, the training wall was constructed by the Strawn Marine Board way back in the 1890s, because where we're travelling here originally was once all very shallow sand spits. There was only 6 inches of water here. And the original channel into Macquarie Harbour, you had to come through Hell's Gates, then follow the shoreline here on our left-hand side very closely, right back into Macquarie Harbour as far as a place called Liberty Point. So to enter Macquarie Harbour, in the early days, it was a very long, narrow, shallow channel. But the Strawn Marine Board, wishing to bring much larger vessels into the port of Strawn, found it necessary to have a much deeper and straighter channel running down to the entrance. So what they've gone and done by building this rock wall over here on our left-hand side in the harbour at this angle, it is quite unique and quite an engineering feat. As I mentioned, the original channel into Macquarie Harbour, you had to follow the shoreline. What they've gone and done is built a false shoreline here in the middle of Macquarie Harbour. As the water rushes past this rock wall, in actual fact, it speeds up the flow of the tides. The speeding up of the tides, in turn, has a natural scouring out effect on the bottom, and there's no need to use a dredge here. This system of the rock wall, the training wall, well, it keeps a nice deep channel of 20 foot of water for us right down to Hell's Gates. Now, to construct this rock wall over 100 years ago was a mammoth task for the Strawn Marine Board. They drove channels down through the sand spits, remembering there was only 6 inches of water here to start with. They then drove pylons down along the channels, they all the stone. So it was all manual labour used to construct this rock wall. Now the rock wall, the training wall, it stretches for 1.5 miles from the headland up in front of us, back behind us. The wall is 20 foot wide at the base, 3 foot wide at the top, and we've got 20 foot of water right alongside. Built by the Strawn Marine Board over 100 years ago, built specifically in the harbour at that angle to train volumes of water to flow down alongside it, thus speeding up the flow of the tides and scouring out a natural channel for us right down to Hell's Gates. Now, if you're staying with us in Strawn this afternoon, you can actually take a drive from Strawn down to the entrance here. It's a 10-mile drive due west of Strawn, and the road will bring you out on the beach, you see, coming up here on our right-hand side. Now, it's a very popular spot, particularly this time of the year, in the summer months. A good camping ground over there. They're particularly popular with the local fishermen. They'll head down here, they launch their dinghies off the beach, and also spin off this beach with the blackback salmon that run in from the open ocean. Now, as the tides come in from the open ocean, so do the blackback salmon, and they've recorded some quite good catches from this beach over the past couple of weeks. So if you are staying with us in Strawn for a couple of days, keen fishermen, got a rod and reel in the boot of the car, well, a 10-mile drive due west of Strawn.
That's the lighthouse on Bonnet Island.
Out here on our right-hand side at the moment, this beach stretches up the coastline in a northerly direction for some 20 miles. It's the longest beach in Tasmania, and it's known as Ocean Beach. With only a 4-mile drive due west of Strawn, which will only take you 10 minutes, will put you out on the end of Ocean Beach, coming up here on our right-hand side. So I've got the 2 drives from Strawn, a 10-mile drive, will put you on the heads beach. Across the bar through the narrow entrance. I mentioned this morning, we live in Strawn, the Mount Lyell Mining Company over in Queenstown. They ceased shipping copper out of the port back in 1963. So no commercial shipping at all now uses the port of Strawn. So the Marine Corps has sold all the homes. They're now privately owned and used as holiday homes. Mind you, I had access to the homes, so it's bye-bye. Well, the entrance on a 250-ton sailing bark, with no engines. On the bridge of a vessel of 3,000 tons beside us. And that's the largest ship recorded coming through Hell's Gates. With a lot less horsepower than the Wilkes Seeker has. Hell's Gates, only 270 feet wide. It's the narrowest entrance to any harbour in the world. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes Hell's Gates, a narrow entrance that we're just going through, that proves a problem to the fishing fleet working out of Strawn. At the end of this rock breakwater here ahead of us lies a dangerous sandbar. With only 18 foot of water on the sandbar, when we experience the fierce norwesterly gales that blow straight across the Southern Ocean here ahead of us. And it's not uncommon for us to experience nor'westers of 40 to 50 knots at times here on the coast. Under those conditions, we can get waves of up to 20 feet breaking across the sandbar. Those huge waves, they break right over the rock breakwater here ahead of us. They then connect up with the very shallow shoals you'll see here on our right-hand side. And it's under Ladies and gentlemen, we are right bang in the path of the roaring 40s here on the west coast of Tasmania. Now, for instance, if I was to continue a northwesterly course further out here into the Southern Ocean, we'd have some 8,000 miles to travel till we reach land. 8,000 miles out there somewhere ahead of us, you'll find South America. We managed to miss South Africa on this latitude by about 300 miles. So the cold fronts, at times, they can cross the Southern Ocean here ahead of us, and they can hit the west coast of Tasmania and then fall for us. That's why, in my opinion, at times we can experience some very harsh weather conditions here on the coast. Conditions, like good here on the coast today, it's probably hard for you to imagine. Winds of 40 to 50 knots blowing straight in on the coast. Waves of 20 feet breaking right across the front of the vessel. Now, the fishing fleet that work out of Straw. I myself, I worked for some 17 years as a professional break fisherman on this coast. Well, I decided life was considerably easier driving cruise vessels around. But the trawlmen, they work 50 to 60 miles out to sea here ahead of us on the continental shelf trawling for the fish. The grey fishermen like myself working up and down this coast, the rugged west coast of Tasmania, which is 200 miles long, staying away for up to 2 weeks at a time. If you wander through the rainforest this morning at Heritage Landing, you'll hear plenty of birds. I didn't be lucky enough to see a few. But apart from the occasional cormorant or shag, maybe a black swan or a wild duck, very little bird life to be seen here on the river.
Jesse.
Well, the Golden River is, of course, home to the famous Huon pine tree. The only place Huon pine grows in the world is here in Tasmania on the west and southwest coast of our state. Now, we're just about to pass a small stance of Huon pine coming up here on our right-hand side. Please just come up here ahead of us on our right-hand side, right on the river's edge, a tree that has a furry lemon-green coloured foliage that hangs right out over the river. Another way to pick the Huon pine out is being such an old tree. It tends to get quite a bit of moss and lichen growing through its branches. But these trees that are just starting to pass here off the right of the bow with their furry lemon-green coloured foliage hanging right out over the river, the moss and lichen growing through the branches, now these are the Huon pine.
Right there.
And what makes the Huon pine so famous, so unique? The Huon pine timber has a natural oil in it. It's an oil not found in any other timber. An oil that never leaves the Huon pine and stops it from ever rotting. That oil also resists most types of marine borers, particularly the dreaded teredo worm that eats into the hulls of wooden vessels. And that's why the Huon pine timber has been prized worldwide by shipwrights as being the best boat building timber available. A little bit more about this unique oil found in the Huon pine. Some 70 odd years ago, they're still logging Huon pine from the Golden River.
Over 2,000 years old. Whoa. Fall over backwards here.
Okay, Jesse. We're going now. Bye-bye, Huon pine. See you when I'm all grown up.
It won't have grown an inch.
Daddy,
What?
there's one there. What does that say?
Jump down, hon. There you go.
No, JC.
So that's one tree. 2,000 years old.
Why can't I?
We'll come back out the other end. What's that doing?
This is the Myrtle rainforest. I figure this is the thickest rainforest, densest rainforest in the world. It's a little more of the rainforest. I tried to save some batteries for Sarah Island, but I'm not sure how that will go. We're now on Sarah Island looking out from the Quarry Harbor. We swing back around, there's Joshua and Sally. And this is Sarah Island. It's 11 acres. And this is where the worst of the worst prisoners went. And there's one of them. Constant hard labor, that was the regime here, our regimen here. So this is still Sarah Island. These are some of the ruins. It's a beautiful place. It's easy to see why the convicts considered this hell. Hell's Gate, we showed you before, that's why they named it there, 'cause this is where they were bringing them. They considered it the worst place they could be. That's the penitentiary. Here's our last shot of Sarah Island. Whoops, maybe not. Well, the battery was gone, but looks like we're going to get some more out of it. These are some of the ruins. That's the jail, the first building. The walkway actually built over part of it. And back there, that's the bakery and the tannery. Most of the buildings here were torn down by the locals trying to hide the past here. We're heading back now. Heading back now. I've lost my family. There they are. No, it's not. There they are. They're hiding. Heading back to the... One last look at Sarah Island. And then it is time for us to go. I think that's just pretty there. That's looking back. And up that way. The settlements. That's the island.